welcome to the Man United Agenda. And as you can see, we're all doom and gloom here on the Man United Agenda. And I imagine as fans as well, you're feeling in a bad way right now. That was a disappointing result, hard watch. And we're going to try and just talk about this game. 3-0. We just lost to Liverpool. Bath time. I know you got someone mowing in the background, but I would like to just say greetings.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you feeling, bro?
I'm really, really cross. Obviously, to anyone listening, excuse me, but my fat next door neighbour has decided that now is the time to mow the lawn. So if you hear what sounds like 100 angry wasps attacking you, it's not the Liverpool midfield; it's my next door neighbour. I'm really, really, really cross on Monday with that performance. It's 3 games into the season. We've lost 2. I see very, very little positives, and most of all, I see a lot of players hiding and not performing. There are only a couple on the pitch that I felt really showed that they were Manchester United players. I felt that we were physically weak, mentally weak, poorly set up, and I feel like embarrassed and extremely concerned because all you guys said the window was 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. We need more lumps in the team that can win 1v1s in the middle of the pitch and not get knocked about all the time. And King Lump, I mean, what a great career he's had, but I'm very, very sorry. Casemiro needs to be put on a plane to anywhere. Look at him. Oh, the lawnmower's back.
Okay. Right. In that case, mute your mic, and I'm going to speak to a new camera. You got a new camera, Dora. You look a lot clearer.
Oh, you haven't? No, it's day. It's still a day. Okay. Here, so I have more lightning. Who would have thought that with lightning, the camera works actually? I don't know, Monty. It's like I said it a bit at the halftime, but I couldn't say my old thoughts because the second half was starting. It feels like every single game, especially against big teams, top 6 especially, Ten Hag's United starts with very energetic first 10-15 minutes that appeases fans on the stadium. People on the Twitter get hyped up. Oh my God, this pressing is amazing. This passing is amazing. This is incredible. This is world class. Blah blah. And then the opposing team does one counterattack. We concede, and the illusion is destroyed all of a sudden. And that's typical Ten Hag. That's typical Manchester United under Ten Hag, unfortunately. And I know people are going to say you are negative. I think that's realistic because we have been seeing this for this is 3rd season, and especially besides those 2 performances against Liverpool at the Cup, which were good, we've been absolutely dreadful against them. And if they were kind of better, we would concede even more. But they weren't asked to score more goals. They scored 3. It was enough. I think Slot schooled Ten Hag. He showed him that this is how you press. This is how you have organized team. And this is how you set up, especially in the, very, how do you say it? Very, at Old Trafford, right? In the away game where it's hostile environment, right? Atmosphere. This is the biggest derby, English derby in history, probably the biggest, footballing derby in the world or game. And he knew how to set up against Manchester United. And this is his first game against us. And that's how he starts against United. And to me, as a United fan watching us, that's devastating to me. That's absolutely horrendous as a fan to me to witness this United team who spent 160 million euros this summer or more, or pounds, I don't know, but a lot of money. He brought all of his players, and still it doesn't matter who plays, it's still the same issues.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask a question to the commentators, to the fans in the chat, to you guys. Where are we good? Are we good in the attack? Are we good defensively? Are we good in the midfield? Are we good at passing? Are we good at pressing? Where are we good? Because I think genuinely, I think that any team in the Premier League, even wider, will come to Old Trafford, and they will be able to play amazing football against us, and that's very worrying and devastating for me to admit it as a United fan. Like we don't have to watch this every single time, because people are getting attached. Oh my God, but the process, but this, but that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like you can watch the progress or whatever, continue and watch it and whatever. But where did we improve, guys? Because in the game, I don't think we improved, and this game, I think, emphasized a lot of our problems.
Okay, guys in the chat, Dora's asked a question, and if you're asking a question, you usually know the answers. If you ask where are we bad, I'm sure we would have many answers, but you're asking where are we good at the moment. Let's go to a few comments before we move on. So Andrew is saying here he's got his list of scores. 5 is average, and there's only one guy, the right back, who's above average by today's performance. Adil, how you doing? Never ever play Rashford, Casemiro, and Bruno again. Simple as that. They are bench players or starters for the FA Cup or League Cup. If he does this after the break, he won't last till December. Talking about the manager. Big up Stuart Marshall. Ten Hag out and take your Ajax rejects with you. Shambles of a club. He's fuming. Bart is here as well. He's a Liverpool fan, so obviously he's happy. Salah is already Premier League legend in his books. He's obviously scored a lot of goals against us. Jaylee saying, good day, just being polite since there's nothing good with this day. United haven't strengthened, says Chat Sport. Andrew is saying here, your window is overrated. The transfer month was a 5 at best, talking about our transfers done. James is here to say Eric Ten Hag is done. Stuart Marshall, you can't blame Casemiro. They're all SHITs. And in Spain, Ed Mayhem, I hope you're having a good time in Spain. Forget about what's going on over here. JD saying here, still 9 out of 10 window, 5 good first team players, many players out, and our future looks good with 3 or 4 wonder kids in the club as well.
Can I talk about that one? Yeah, like big respect and stuff, but it's game week 3 in the Premier League, our 3rd match, and the only player that we can bring on in midfield is Toby Collier. That is a massive issue with recruitment. And I'm sure you'll agree that midfield has been one of our biggest defects for a long time. So I just don't know how you come to a 9 out of 10. Obviously, I respect you and stuff. And also, just a little word for Bart. We're all very, very sore here today. You better toe the line, boy, or you will be out for the rest of this stream.
We've got a Chat Sport saying United spent all their money on defenders when midfield and striker options was needed most of all. Andrew saying Dora spins facts. Adil saying here it's not Arsen's talent. The team is well aware of playing United. They know how to handle the pressing.
Like he needs to tell them something, right? He's not like a traffic cone sitting, standing beside on the pitch. Like, okay, Klopp's influence is great at Liverpool, but saying that Arne Slot it's not his talent and style of play, I think that's just, that to me that's not a true statement. I disagree with that.
Okay, a couple more before we wrap it up. Just 2 more. Want to say hi to Mr. B's brother, it's Stoney, and obviously Mr. B's brother is a Liverpool fan. Stoney, how you doing? Congratulations on the win today, Liverpool. And he's saying hello, Mandy. It's going to be Mandy. That is obviously a spelling mistake, but I think he's taking them. But big up, Stoney, and hope you're doing well, bro. We better saying here is the question: has Ten Hag lost the dressing room? That is he's asking. And James is saying here, James is vexed. We said this last year and the year before, obviously, about the window. Big up to Matthew Bassett as well. All right, let's go on with this. Let's go on with the game. Obviously, starting.
I want to go back to something.
Yeah, go on.
Like, I believe it was a deal talked about. We couldn't handle their press, and I think that Dora, you also mentioned something about it. And Stuart, all the way in Bali, said like, we can't just blame Casemiro. In the first half, Liverpool didn't really create many chances. Is that correct? They came from errors. And their third goal was an error from an otherwise very, very good performance from Kobe Mainu.
Yeah.
All those errors basically came from the centre of the pitch. There seemed to be a plan of letting Martinez on the ball and then like giving a little space and then three of them coming in and slapping up whoever was in the midfield. For me, I think that this is a structural issue, and what I am really concerned with Ten Hag and the rest of all these people on the bench is why that wasn't addressed at any point during the game, because we know that they very, very quickly moved the position of Trent Alexander-Arnold. We didn't seem to move anyone at any time. It was. I don't know what Ten Hag was really doing in that first half, because I could see a problem there all the time with Casemiro, and it's not just that he's not great anymore, but it was that there was a plan to get him, and they got Kobe as well, who is fantastic on the ball. Surely that's something with the tactics and the setup.
Okay, let's get on with the first half then. We started out with a team which was slightly different. Maguire was dropped. He's not injured. He was on the bench, so it can't be that bad. Maguire was dropped for De Ligt. De Ligt came in, and obviously we haven't got a left back at the moment either, have we, guys? So we had the same Dalot played at left back, and Maz was at right back. The other change from the previous games, Ahmad was dropped as well for Garnacho. I don't know how you feel about that, Dora. Don't worry about the performance, but do you think, what's that telling Ahmad go long term here? That for a big game, you can play the first two games, played pretty well, scored a goal as well. You know,
there's context though.
Sorry,
there's context about his stepmother.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Let me know, because I just wanted to know.
She died.
Changes. Yeah, she died prior to the.
Yeah, she died last week, and then he went and played that game, but he's had a week of sort of dealing with it. So like that, although with that out of context, yes, it seems very unfair to him to be dropped. But I'm hoping that the club and people around him have maybe like seen how he is and things. And congratulations to him. He came on and played very well. But I think the context of losing a family member within the last week might have played into that a bit.
So, Doris, you don't think it's got anything to do with playing Liverpool and playing your better players? Garnacho starting. He's played pretty well so far, pre-season and the first two games, and scored a goal.
Yeah, I mean, without the context, I will say without the context, I think that's a good point, best time. I think that, from his point of view, it would probably seem like, he would be disappointed naturally. I believe that even though he had some ups and downs in the first two games, but he to me he showed that he progressed from the previous years as a youngster, in that there is maybe some room for improvement, especially when it comes to placements on the pitch when we are defending, or when we are in possession. I think he brings energy as well, but Garnacho also brings the energy. If you watch, if you look at it, from even Ten Hag's point of view, he would never drop Rashford against Liverpool, especially since he thinks that Rashford is all of a sudden, going tracking back and playing defensively, or playing defense and helping Dalot. He probably thinks, okay, he's doing that. The goals will come, which didn't happen, unfortunately. We'll talk about it, but yeah. It was a bit, without the context, it is a bit, why are you doing? But I believe that Ten Hag thought, okay, Garnacho, his goal got disallowed last game against Brighton because of Zirkzee. He was in good positions. He probably felt okay. He has a lot of energy. He's very rapid. He has a good. He's not afraid to attack the goal. Why not try with him and put Ahmad in at 60th, 70th minute maybe to close out the game or something like that. I think that was the thought process.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think there were that many changes, right?
There wasn't many changes. 2 changes. So talked about Garnacho starting. We've got a comment here saying Garnacho looked rusty today. That's from Andrew. But do you think it should be? Because a lot of people are calling for Rashford to be dropped. Not everybody, but a few people have mentioned that. So with Ahmad and Garnacho, maybe. But Rashford's a big game player, apparently. We will talk about his performance in a bit. But let's just talk about the first half. Obviously, as touched on to what you said there, Bath time, about in the first half, it was mistakes really that opened us up, and we have been pretty good. We've seen some slight improvements, which we talked about on the channel. But the first mistake for the goal, we've seen Casemiro again play his sort of first time pass. I don't think he was on anyone's page. It kind of went in the direction of Kobe Mainoo, but Mainoo was on his way forward. I think he was trying to pick out the wide man, but a terrible pass to make. And you're a midfielder, Bath time. Just talk, what's the mindset there with Casemiro? Because why is he rushing like that? Why can't he just get the foot on the ball and slow things up?
You've really hit the crux of it there, which is that Casemiro is not a ball carrier. He's not he's not really a oh, for God's sake. That's him before the Olympics. He's not a ball carrier. He lacks a lot of what you kind of want from a midfielder. And he's trying to switch the play and he's trying to launch transition. And one of United's big problems is that in our midfield, we don't have a lot of tippy-tappy players that can just sort of like, toe poke it around one side, get in front of someone else, progress it up the pitch. Casemiro is consistently, even his first start against Everton, I don't know if you remember, Onana absolutely beat him up, and then he launched like a 40, 50-yard ball for Ronaldo to get in on the inside left channel and score. And that's his game, because in the midfields that he's played with, Kroos, Modric, they do all that stuff. Like, they're the ones that control the game, set the tempo. And Casemiro doesn't seem to have an understanding of... that's so unfair. Casemiro doesn't seem to have an elite level understanding of when to stretch the pitch, when to launch a transition, and all these different things. And I think that Bruno is another one who has this, where they don't have the same thing that Kobe does of drawing a man, laying it off, and manipulating a block. And the example of that, right, is that in the first half, we dropped Casemiro into a back three, him, De Ligt, Martinez, all good long-range passers, all very nice. And we had Delo and Mazraoui tearing it up and things. We're just doing the same thing we always do, playing around the block. Liverpool, because our press was dreadful, played through us. And we don't have the players, with the exception of Kobe Mainoo, to play through a team. And I think that something I talk about a lot of the time, Amonde, I'm sorry if I'm moving away from the subject, but something I talk about a lot is pressure on the ball. And you were really excited about the signing of Xerxes. Do you think he contributed to the issues in midfield? Because to me, he seemed disinterested and definitely like ineffective in the press.
I disagree. Totally disagree with you. Yeah, totally disagree. I don't think he's disinterested. I think he was putting himself about. He was getting, it looked like, from what I can understand, it looks like Brute is the same as what Mount and Bruno were doing. 2 kind of number 10s, letting them. What we needed to do is get a be around Gravenberch and McAllister, judging what I've seen, how Liverpool played this system under the new manager. And I think they did that. They got in and around them. It was in the first half, it had to be, we restricted them, and it had to be Van Dijk to play a cutting pass through. It wasn't Gravenberch, it wasn't McAllister, because I think Bruno and Xerxes were doing their job and getting in around these players to try and stop them. That's what their job was to do. That they were assigned to do, and they've done it pretty well. I think Xerxes, you might not get the hunting down, pressing in the way of Mount, but he does enough with his presence alone to sort of put players off and get in and around them as well. So I wasn't disappointed with him in that sense at all. I was watching him for that off the ball thing to see where he could do what Mount does effectively.
Crazy, isn't it? We've seen the same game, and we've got such different opinions on it.
Well, I'm not so different. I hear what you're saying, but you say words. Think about what word did you use to describe?
Disinterested and ineffective.
See what I mean? See, that's a bit drastic for me. That's why I'm going to defend it.
All right, I'll tell you why I said disinterested.
If you can adjust it a little bit, I might be more.
Okay. The reason I say disinterested was I noticed something in about the 65th, 70th minute where he was running with his head down, and he looked like he didn't want to do the work. And one of the big issues that I had with the performance today is that we've all played in those games where people are a little bit stronger than you, a little bit faster, and you've kind of got to adjust to it. And I remember thinking, like, where are the players that are trying to force the opposition to do something they don't want to do? And I was looking at Xerxes, and I'm not excusing Bruno from this, because I don't know if you noticed, but Bruno was putting a lot of blame on Xerxes in the first half.
Yeah,
always pointing. Yeah, like Bruno, I thought was really disappointing today in his pressing as well, and I felt that those two were kind of hanging the midfield out to dry, and you can see the difference from the Liverpool setup, where I'm not sure it's actually about the coaching. I think it's because Liverpool were getting through us. Van Dijk is not a better passer than Lisandro Martinez or De Ligt by a huge amount or a lesser amount. But they were getting it through the midfield. And I think the difference is that their front three was working harder than our front three or our front four. And it might be teething problems and things, but I was really disappointed with Xerxes today, because his off the ball stuff I didn't like, but I felt his combination play was really poor in the first half. And I don't want to say he's useless, but his touch wasn't good. Like, his passes were under hit. No,
I totally disagree with you. His first touch. Go and look at the first touch he made. His layoff. That is a really positive of his game. His touch. He's got big men with the two centre backs on him, and he's able to sort of lay deft little touches off with his back to goal and people on his back as well. He wasn't getting moved up the way Kobe did or Casemiro did for the goal. He was able to resist that physical pressure in his back and play football. I thought he was good in that respect. That's his strength, and you're creating a weakness for that. We're bumping heads today, Bath. I'll totally disagree.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
think?
Dora.
I know. What do you think, Dora, about that? What Bath? But about the Xerxes thing, I disagree. I think Xerxes did do his work, didn't look disinterested. He was trying to do the work, and I thought he done it effectively. And I also think that his touches were good. His link-up play was pretty good.
I mean,
your observations, because we were seeing different games.
Yeah, it usually is, but not today. He was dreadful. I think he lost 100 balls. Like, if you know how tennis works, and you know that little stat that says unforced errors, like, he would have 50 of them just in the first half, because at one moment in the first half, before Liverpool scored that first goal, when we were actually, showing the energy, every time the ball came to him or Bruno Fernandes, like, I'm not, isolating Zirkse, because Bruno was absolutely horrendous as well. And I think, we need to talk about it as well, because he's the captain and he's supposed to be our best player. Whenever they receive a ball, as, they get ambushed by at least two Liverpool players. They try to yoga bonito, go through the legs of the opposing player instead of just passing. And when they try to pass, they either, as you said, that time, underhit it or overhit it, or they just simply push the ball somewhere where no one is. And to me, that was a huge issue. There were some moments where he, dropped deep, he relayed the ball quite well to the wings, but it really, in the if you look at it, throughout the whole game, it's not enough. And he missed two huge chances, the header and when he miscontrolled the ball. When he miscontrolled the ball off his heel. Like, I know, look, I'm not going to jump on him and say, oh my God, he's dreadful. But today, he's been very poor. Nothing worked for him. Nothing worked for him. And, it affected our attack. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one at fault for our attack being sterile. And we can, discuss it furthermore.
Okay, let's talk. So that's the first goal we were discussing about the midfielder, Casemiro, trying to pick out a pass. Maybe he should have slowed it down.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that, Amonde. I felt that Martinez was poor on that goal as well.
Yes, I agree.
Martinez, the way you guys are going in on Xerxes, I disagree with you there. But I thought Martinez, I'm watching him today, I'm thinking, man, you're not the man that you used to be. You're everywhere. I don't know. I just don't think he's like as good as I originally felt he was. Like his mentality, like it, all that, but you can't grow. You're not going to, unless you're going to give sort of growth spurts or something at his age, which doesn't happen. I think he needs to be bigger, stronger, faster. Like this, take him to the $1 Million Man camp, that company that made them bigger, stronger. Put him up in space and crash him, then bring him down to the earth and rebuild him. Because
on a positive though, the first, I'd say 50, 60 minutes, I really like what I saw from De Ligt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Certainly the first half.
I agree. De Ligt was good. Yeah, I enjoyed his defensive play. Yeah. Stood up well, pinched the ball at the right time, didn't go to the ground. I was worried about him with Diaz or someone quick like that on the movement off the ball. He sort of sat back and observed the whole game and decided when to pick off any attacks. And he stood up really well, good in the air as well. Didn't see his passing. I know he's got great passes. I didn't see much of his passing, but his defensive responsibility, not going to ground, being calm and secure in certain situations. Yeah, I'm very impressed with him.
Yeah. But for me, that first goal is obviously the Casemiro stuff. Like, I mean, Kobe is making a forward movement with the intention of opening up some space. He's not. You can just tell he's not ready for it, and Casemiro just sweeps a big wooden leg out to get it there. But when we look at like how we were set up to defend losing the ball there, it's not the worst that I've seen from a Manchester United side under Ten Hag. And I felt that it was Gravenberch who gave it to Salah. I felt Gravenberch looked like he completely got it wrong. But Martinez, he's a player that I'm not a huge fan of, but I know what he's good at, and that's clamping. Like being tight, elbows, teeth everywhere. I felt there was just far too much space given to Salah, and he wasn't closing Gravenberch down quickly enough. So even though the huge error is from Casemiro, I felt that like the sort of recovery defending needs to be of a far higher standard if we're looking to even get a positive goal difference, because it's 3 games in and we're negative again, man.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone 1-0 down. It was a mistake. And clearly, I mean, look, my heart sank because I thought, we need to get the first goal today. And it was sort of tight in the first half. And then we go 2-0 down. And I think, look, in this position here, you're running as a midfielder. Like we played a Sunday league game today, and there's one of our midfielders who's carrying the ball far too much, leaving his block, running to other people's spaces. He's trying to keep the ball, but it's very rushed. And I noticed today with this bit of possession here, he should shield the ball better.
Left arm.
Yeah, he had his arm out at one point, but he could feel the guy coming because he put his arm out to shield him off. But he still went to ground. Where was the trip? I didn't see a trip. I think it was too weak. And to me, 2-3 touches in that area, because like you said, there was a trap set for certain players. And by that point, at this stage of the game, it's 42nd minute. As you can see in the clock there, I just felt that the midfielder in Casemiro in this case should get out his feet, 1-2 touch, bang, and pass it.
Do you know what he's done wrong there?
If it's body shape, for me, is all wrong.
Yeah, it's so like what Diaz has done good is that I think anyone who's played in defence knows this. is you're getting your hip across the other man's like thigh or knee or whatever is the first thing that you want to be doing. But when you're shielding the ball here, you have to have your left arm up, pushing them back a little bit to stop that hip coming across. Like Casemiro is a professional footballer, and that body shape, like, I mean, Diaz looks like a giant compared to him because he's got his hip and his arm across. Casemiro isn't protecting the ball properly. His arse should be further out to his left-hand side, and the ball should be further away. And he's taken a chance. He's basically sort of like dived. And on the replay, and I know you don't have it there, he was even slow trying to handball the ball. He should have gone down and put his hands like on the ball and sort of like forced the ref. But this is to anyone that plays football, who plays in the midfield. When you're getting challenged from a 45-degree angle, your left foot has to be forward and at a diagonal with your arse out protecting the ball and your arm up. And you'll get a free kick every time if you do that. Jesus, look at that. Go on, Dora.
Right.
Is this... Yeah, it's...
Dora, just talk us through this second goal. So, yeah, it wasn't a foul, clearly, but it left us in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, the ball immediately goes to Mo Salah, who is once again against the law. He crosses it, right? And Luis Diaz scores it from the second post, or, you know, the far post. If he didn't score, I think someone else would score there, another player, either Jota or whoever was with him. It's diabolical once again. So this picture or photo doesn't, or screenshot or whatever, it doesn't, you know, show it. But immediately the ball is sent to Salah. He is against what's his face, against the law, and then Martinez and De Ligt are drawn to the ball, drawn on that to the right of the or to the left of the defense. They're closer to Mo Salah than they are closer to the two players who are all alone. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, but Mazraoui was already in the attack." Kobe couldn't, he didn't follow up. He's here a player as well. They were all, driving to attack when Casemiro lost the ball. So it's solely Casemiro's fault. Okay, cool. But I mean, it was once again like.
Are you talking about an option, like giving Casemiro like an option to pass the ball?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Are you talking about an option, like no one is giving Casemiro
that too? This photo looks, it looks very jarring, right? He's getting ambushed by Liverpool players once again. Everyone is kind of, I know Mino was already gassed because he had to cover for Casemiro, who's been dreadful this game. I'm not defending this guy, but it just feels like, look at Mazraoui, like how in the hell two players, went all alone to the second post and were all alone with De Ligt and Martinez, covering for whoever was, going into that, in the middle of the box. To me, like, what is going on? Are we ball watching once again, or is it, bad from the players, or is it a systematic problem? Because it happened a lot. It happened a lot during Ten Hag. It happens a lot during, since Ten Hag came in. I'm just baffled with the way we are defending. Like, mistakes happen. It's in our, hands or in our power to recover and get back to those places. Where are Menu? Where are Mazraoui? Where are other players to cover for, or even Alejandro Garnacho? Like, where are you to cover those two players, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, and their left back? Was it Robertson? Or whoever was it? I don't know. Where were you? And to me, is it going to it's both players' fault, but players' fault and managers' fault. But it happens so many times during Ten Hag's reign that I need to blame the manager as well, because I agree. I mean, it's getting ridiculous at this point.
All right, Dora, if you look at that photo, Liverpool are compact.
Yeah.
Right? we obviously can't see any strikers or anything like on the pitch, but one of the there's a lot of reasons you remain compact, but one of the reasons you remain compact in defense, in attack, like, which sounds counterproductive because you want to be wide in attack. But if you're compact in attack as well as defense, it means you have more men around the ball to win it back. And this is the structural problem that I see, is that United have got, how many have we got there? 6 players. Liverpool have got 6 players. Look at the difference of where they are. Like, Liverpool are all around that ball, ready to win it, because they're a harder working team. So that when we send it out wide, all those players are going to run without thinking out there. And they're also going to be closer to each other in attack. I agree with you. I think that Xerxes should be in that photo dropping in. I think that Garnacho should be there. I think that Rashford should be there, because one of our big problems is space in between the lines and like our kind of concentration, our compactness in the middle of the pitch. And this photo is damning for so many reasons. One is it looks like people that looks like people queuing for a bus from the United team, and the Liverpool team look like they're in a robbery. And I agree with you, but I mean, with the booze and the performance, it's got to change. And we've said it so many times, Yabba, it's got to change.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, when we look at this, so I think he's allowed them to get back at him. You can see them, like you said, about being compact there, Liverpool striking to win the ball back. This is what modern football's about, isn't it? It's what we're trying to achieve in the final third. Win the ball back as soon as they get it, and they've hounded this man. And the work by Diaz to get back. I'd love to see Rashford doing that sort of work, that sort of aggression to pinch the ball and win that back, or even any of our Amads or Garnachos. I want to see, or Sancho when he was there. I never really saw that from him. They're hounding, they're doing their work. And I think when I'm looking at it, I think, how come I would say Liverpool are fitter than us? If we had what's that show?
They're stronger though, aren't they? Gravenberch, like Salah is unreal.
No, what's that show they used to do where they used to test all the sportsmen together? Daley Thompson, Brian Jacks, and all that kind of
records or something.
Yeah. So if you to do a show like that, I'm sure most football teams would have roughly about the same fitness levels. But what it is, I think it's when you strike, as Diaz knows there, I'm going to put an burst of explosion into getting the ball back now, and then I can rest afterwards because I'm doing my job in this little zone here. That's all. That's the only time I'm going to go. Bam. But it's a designed kind of fitness. You do it for 20 seconds. Bam. Worked your ass off to get the ball back, and then you were rewarded for it because you've got teammates around you. Pop it off as they did, and in 2-3 passes, there's an overlap, and they scored a goal. So I think it's a management.
Is that coaching?
Yeah, it's a management issue where players are working. I've seen Bruno running to close someone down like 3/4 pace, full pace, running like 100 yards, and I'm thinking that's useless because you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there, and it's not an organized kind of press. You're just doing it to look good, and people say, "Oh, he's working hard," but you've got to work hard and sensible. And I think with Diaz there, he knows I put the work in now. Have a breather in a minute because if I don't get it, he's running to an area where we're going to close things down. And I think that's the important thing. If you're putting pressure on someone with the ball, you're going to make them the pass not be off, and you're likely to win the ball back like that. So
or foul them.
Great work there by Diaz to do that. And when we look at it here, the situation here is giving the ball away, and suddenly it was this with the overlap, and Salah got the ball and crossed it with his right foot, and there's 3 guys. So what we did, we went over like we did with the goal against. No,
this is the Luis Diaz snap finish. This is
all right. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused too. But once again, give the ball away, and they struck in 3 or 4 passes. This is what Ralph Rangnick was trying to achieve: turn over the ball in 2-3 passes, get a shot on goal, and this is what Liverpool done exactly to us. Great work by Liverpool to do that, and I just think Casemiro. He stayed down, and you were walking back, looking to the referee, and it just screams out, nah, not good enough. And I'm damn right. Well done to the manager for subbing him at halftime, because no matter what status you have, that was such a poor performance. I've never seen Roy Keane He's given away own goals. He's passed the ball back. And I remember one game, and all this kind of thing. But it's the attitude. It's the attitude. There's a difference between attitude of Liverpool players and Man United players, and there's also a difference in structure and what they're supposed to do when they do it. They know when they're supposed to do it and what time to do it, and it works for them. And that's the main difference for me between Liverpool and Man United. And Man United and most teams right now. I've said enough. Go ahead, you guys. I'm going to look at the comments, get the comments ready. But yeah, this is the second goal.
What do you reckon, Dora?
Second goal.
You must disagree with some of the things Amon Dave says.
No, I said it. I said about second goal. Have I not?
Yeah, but what do you think? What do you think was what Yaba was saying about it's a coaching issue? Like
it is. It definitely is.
Not the players.
I mean, it's so hard, right, to identify the problem. But what I noticed since Ten Hag came in, whoever comes into this team, there are always the same issues, which is unfortunate.
Oh no!
And
Look
I
at
know.
what Matty said.
Okay, amazing. He will probably say we played amazing, but he is getting his player. Look, if we get Ugarte next game, and all of a sudden fixes every single midfield issue that we had, cool. I will take my hands up and say it's not a coaching problem; it's a personnel problem. Right? Casemiro was a liability. He is at fault for us not scoring goals, not creating an attack, not defending well. Cool. He is going to be a main culprit or, everything wrong with United. Okay, cool. But if I see Ugarte next game doing the same issues, getting caught up, maybe slightly better with energy because he is more energetic than Casemiro, to be quite fair with you, right? He's faster and he is good at intercepting sometimes, well, from what I saw of him, right? But if that happens once again, then it's coaching. It's most definitely coaching. How many players need to go through this club for us to finally say, okay, it's the manager's fault? I mean, this is his third season. Why in the hell we don't have a solution for the midfield issues? We are still seeing a single pivot thing. We are still seeing the same, us going into attack. Too many players going into attack. Very poor recovery in the defensive transitions. Players ball watching, marking wrong people or not marking at all. What is it going to be? I agree on Monday. I think at this moment in time, it's coaching. Like, you cannot excuse him. He got his players now. We need to see a bit more, right? Especially, with Ugarte coming in. But when does it stop? When do we stop blaming solely players and start blaming the manager? And I believe this is the moment where we need to blame the manager because it's been atrocious. Absolutely.
I'm up for blaming
atrocious.
the players today. I like Kobe. Obviously, he had a horrible error, but I felt he showed he was a United player. Ahmad, I felt he showed he was a United player. Mazraoui, Delo, I felt they showed they were United players. Anana, I mean, the man is like, he's just all gob. He just talks all the time about stuff. And
Onana is awful, by the way.
Martinez annoyed me. De Ligt lost his head a little bit and was lucky to stay on the football pitch. I'm quite interested about Rashford because Rashford produced the only 3 moments of quality for us in the game with 2 crosses to Xerxes that should have been goals, in my opinion. And then he put another very good ball in for Ahmad at the back post. But that was the thing. The crowd booed him for bottling for what they thought was bottling a 1v1. Yeah. I'm fairly sure that is more of a sort of style of play thing of where he draws someone out and passes it inside. Like, and also with hearing like Ten Hag's at the wheel being sung by Liverpool fans and things, it feels to me, Dora, that obviously I love blaming the manager, but
of course,
I really feel a lot of players today were disinterested, ineffective, and lacked heart or even the gumption to try and solve a problem or cause a problem, with the massive exception of Ahmad. Like, Ahmad came on and went at them. Why is Garnacho not doing that in the same position?
Because he's getting munched up. He's getting munched. They seeing him get up against Robinson, can't beat him for pace. Going in the middle, going run, we got a ball play through the middle, yammed up. Like, it's too physical, too strong, faster than you, stronger than you. It's you need to have more than just running power against these guys, because you can't beat them for just pace, then you're going to struggle. Ahmad at least gets the ball, link up, buff, you know, that little thing where he's going to cut onto his left foot. Sometimes it's difficult to stop, and he did look effective when he came on. But I felt Garnacho up against Robinson. Robinson didn't have much worries, and the two centre backs, when he went around them, they were just like, you're a little boy to me. You know, that's how it felt for me. But yeah, it's you got to change your style of play, I think, to open these teams up. I was looking at it and thinking, yeah, Xerxes will have a good game because physically he can match these guys, the two centre backs, and sort of pop it off. And I felt he did do that, as we discussed earlier. That's old news now. But I think Rashford, for example, we've seen Rashford, maybe he's lost a yard of pace. And what fans want to see from him at his age now is to be able to beat players. You know, he tried it by going he's playing from the left-hand side, tried to beat Trent one time. I remember went to the touchline, but didn't have the power to lean on him and, you know, get past him. He couldn't do it. So you lose your confidence, don't you? You think, I can't drive with this guy again. He's going to beat me. That's why I think the fans are sighing, because they're thinking, take him on, at least try. You might get a corner from it or something like that. But he won't, because thinking, I'm going to lose this battle every time. So it's a psychological lack of confidence for me with the players. And once you go down, once you go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, you just start despairing. I saw when Xerxes came off, Ruud van Nistelrooy tried to rub his shoulder, and he was just like sighing as to say, wow, that, you know, this is not what like at Bologna, where I was the key man. Everything was played through me. The team was shaped up, you know, and I had more space and freedom I can create. I'm doing a lot of work out here, dogged work, as you said earlier, you know, and it's hard. It's hard. So he's got a lot to get used to regarding that game. So it's a rude awakening for a lot of players, not for us. We've been here before with Liverpool. They thrashed us. But yeah, something has to change.
So what do you think about Rashford then? Like, in terms of, like, did he play bad? Because I liked some of the things I saw, mainly off the ball. I was concerned about two things. One is that against Fulham, in the first 5 minutes, he got eaten alive by one of their left back or their centre back. I can't remember. And today, again, I saw Konate eating him alive over long distances. Wasn't able to get away. He bottled the 1v1, but he still was our forward player that created the most chances. And I'm unsure on if I think that from the starting front three, him, Xerxes, and Garnacho, he might have been the only one that was a 5 as opposed to a 3.
That's fair enough. Look, I just think Rashford's, I don't know what you think, Dora, but my final word on Rashford is he's not the player I think I ever thought he was either. Same with some other players like Martinez. He's lost his confidence. He needs to really, you know, show something different, drive at people, you know, have more faith in himself. He's lost it. It's a shell. It's just a vessel of the person that he used to be. And I think, you know, the football's hard, isn't it? When you come up against these physical beasts and if he blows and skirts, how am I supposed to get past this guy? If he munches you once, twice, 3 times. And it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? When you get a fullback running with you pace and eating you up alive. So I just think it's a confidence thing. He could go elsewhere, do pretty well. I just want to say this. I know I shouldn't even bring this up, but seeing Greenwood start at Marseille, score sort of 5 goals in 2-3 games or something, well done to him. You know, he's got on with his football. On the football side of things, I'm thinking, yeah, he can finish 2 feet, and that was a development in progress, and it got stalled for his own doing. But we've had to sort of, and we've had setback like that, and we had a setback like Sancho, and Rashford still remain there. So I think if those guys would have progressed, I don't think Rashford would still be here at the club. And I think any observer at the club would be saying to themselves, I think it's time to let this guy go. Because
do you think Ratcliffe and because he had the whole mafia was out watching, and they would have seen a half-empty stadium. They'd have heard the Liverpool fans, but they would have seen I think Gary Neville said on commentary that Old Trafford doesn't boo, and that's true. And the boos came from the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, which is the south stand that you don't see on TV, and that stand has basically the eldest season ticket holders there. Within that particular part of the pitch, like the bottom left-hand corner, that's where the oldest United fans are. And I was stunned when they booed Rashford because I used to sit there. I've never seen them do that to any player ever, and it was definitely the South Stand that did it. With all that in mind, Yabba, do you think Barada, my mate Dan, Ratcliffe all looked at each other and thought Rashford's time this is a player that that we might have to take a hit on, but we've got to move him on?
Yes, and the reason why, I'll just say this quickly, we play in Liverpool, look at our results against Liverpool being dreadful, 7-0, 5-0, 6-1, whatever it was, and now 3-0. Yeah. Liverpool in the past, they had Mane in Rashford's position, much better player than Rashford. Rashford's at the same age when Mane started to kick fire in the Premier League. He needs to be kicking on like that. He's not anywhere near as effective as Mane was. And now they got Diaz. They signed a guy called Diaz who pitched the ball, got 2 goals as well. Got on the end of things, headers as well, drive, tenacity, all these kind of things, and scary if he's running at you in a way. Another good player. And they're looking at these 2 players from our rivals, Liverpool Football Club, and saying both Mane and his replacement, Diaz, are better players, in my opinion, than Rashford. I think Rashford could be of a level, but he should be looking at these guys saying, that's our rivals. I need to be better than that guy in my position, and he's not. And that's the unfortunate, sad thing about it. He's not as good as these 2 guys. That's why Liverpool won a Champions League and won a league title in the last few years. And Rashford is not of that level. We need to find someone who is of that level and can play and deal with things like Diaz and Mane did. They bought these guys when they were developed. Rashford's been at the club all this time and hasn't developed that much, in my opinion. I'm not being harsh on him. I'm just being my observation.
No, that's fair.
And I think he needs to go.
Yeah.
You think he needs to? Do you think that as a club, I've always liked a player at Brentford called Brian Mbeumo.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have any of nowhere near the level of Rashford's technical skills.
League
2. Did he?
Yeah.
But he works hard. He's strong. He's fast. He's direct. You look at someone like Son, Spurs. He works hard, and he's direct. And then I look at Marcus, and it's a bit like kid on football at times. He's trying to and Bruno does this as well. It's like they're doing something performative so that everyone sees that I'm trying or something like that. Like when if you've been told off being late at work, you might spend 3 days coming in early and then you're just back to doing what you normally do. Could never be me. But the thing is do you think as a club, because when we look at our midfield and we see that it's physically weak,
Sure.
Do you think? Thank you. Do you think that we could get in these kind of floor level players like Mbeumo who raise the physicality of the team and the work rate and stuff and improve, or do you think that we continue with players like Rashford and Garnacho who just don't seem to develop, and is that the fault of the club or their fault? So I've asked you a lot there, so pick one.
No, I agree with you. Look, it's about development. Hopefully now in this new structure, we will develop Garnacho, we will develop Ahmad and all these guys. But Rashford is at the age now where I think you have to let him go for value, for money. We should get some good money for him. He's got 1 big contract left in him. Let it do that elsewhere, because for me, I don't think he's of the standard of Liverpool players that I've just said in his position. Last 2 players like Mane and Diaz now. So I think we need to let him go and say thanks for everything, but it's harsh. Football world is harsh. We have to let him go. Developing players, that's going to be. We only be able to judge that over the next few years with Garnacho, Kobe, even Haaland as well. Can he improve? And then we see what goes on there with the side. But I'm confident we can do that now, because the football structure is a bit better. With regards to Rashford, for example, let him go. Just cut your losses. I've got no sentiment towards him or anything else. People come and go, at Man United. I think his days are done. And there's no disrespect. He's a much better player than me. He's a good Premiership player. But if we want to be of the standard, we need to bring in somebody who can do a better job than him. And if they can scout Diaz and scout Mane and bring these guys in, and hopefully we'll be looking now to get players of that level ready to go with the hunger and fire. And now Mbemo from Brentford, he came from League Two. I think I saw a goal yesterday where he was involved. He hustled. He was tracking back. He was putting people under pressure. He's a hungry player because he's come from a League Two into the Premier League, into the Championship, and was understudy to Tony while Tony was getting all the plaudits. He's remained hungry. He's got electric pace. He's got good work rate, and he's proved himself to be a problem in the Premier League. We saw what he did to Luke Shaw with that counter pressing goal they had from a corner. We had a corner, and
well remembered. That's over 2 years ago. That was the number 4. He absolutely roasted him on the transition.
But my issue with that, though, I'm not saying he'd come to Man United and smash it. I don't think he would, because he just does the good things well, work hard, hustle well, because he's hungry. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't have hungry players, Dora. That's what I'm saying. Rashford got all the physicals, but his mentals, it doesn't make him hungry. If he was coming, he's walked in. He's always been a star through the academy and whatever. He's
no, he wasn't.
And now he's not. He's lost that hunger. That's why
he wasn't rated in the academy.
I know, but he's still being
okay.
Compared to his mates in Manchester, he's
sure.
He's in the academy. That's what I mean. Yeah. But so my point is, once your hunger's gone and you got no desire anymore, what's he got to prove? He's proved it all. Then you need to get rid of him. And Mbemo is hungry because he's still playing for Brentford on minimum low wages. He still wants to prove something, and he's got that. He remembers not so long ago I was playing League Two in France. Dora.
Yeah, I think he needs a change of scenery, Rashford. I don't think he's very happy. I don't know him personally, but whenever you see a player, sulking on the pitch, and I know people are going to say, maybe, people, he will get, abuse on the internet, of course, because people are delusional and idiotic, and they should be ashamed of themselves and go outside and touch a grass, because football is a game. Trust me, it's not that important. Chillax. But I think the issue with him is that I don't think he finds happiness anymore in Manchester. I think he needs a change of scenery, maybe in London or maybe anywhere else in England. Or Dubrovnik. Maybe he wants to play water polo. I mean, it would be very good for his stature, I would say. For his torso especially. It feels like everything he does, it doesn't work. Remember his electric pace. He would go through the players. He cannot do it anymore because his back hurts. Remember that season when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played him, his back hurt him. And I know people are going to say, but under Ten Hag he scored almost 30 goals. Well, he wasn't explosive anymore. He's not explosive as he was, so many years ago. His style of play hasn't really developed. He's, going back to his old, ways. When he came from the academy, right? 1-2 step overs, fast change of pace and direction, and he goes through the players. And and when he could do it, right? But he was a very happy academy player that was finally, he was finally given a chance to prove himself and to become a player of Manchester United. And I don't think that he has it anymore. And it all sounds philosophic. We are trying to mentally rate Rashford and, rate his mentality or whatever. I just feel like whenever you see a player sulking like that on the pitch, they are not feeling very well. That's my personal opinion. it looks like he doesn't find joy in football. And when you incorporate everything that has been happening online, the abuse, obviously, it bothers him. Like it would bother me as well. I mean, if I was, a victim of abuse, but maybe other things in life that we don't see. So he obviously has some issues, and maybe the change of scenery is going to be the best for him. I think he probably thought that he is going to be a legend of this club, that he will probably be the one to break the maybe club record of some kind, maybe go for the Wayne Rooney's record in goals or whatever. He's going to stay here for the rest of his career. He is a Manchester boy. He's born and bred red, right? But some things they need to change, and I think we are going to see him this season. And I think the board is going to look at him and say, okay, I think it's time to go. And I believe that Rashford is going to be willing to go. Despite if he rates his future in football, I think he should consider leaving this, despite the huge money that he's earning. I think he needs to leave for his footballing career.
Okay, let's go to some comments because we've been neglecting you guys. Let's do Andrew. Mane was good because he worked hard. There you go. He's saying here we could have had Mane, but we chose Mkhitaryan instead. Chat Sport saying I think Rashford does well with counter-attacking football. Direct football is his game. Solo in the house. He's got a lot to say. So he's saying, so by the account from you guys, losing the last two games is down to Rashford. We're not saying that necessarily.
I don't think we said that, did we?
No. He's just trying to wind us up. Big up to you, Solo. Big up to DK Wilson. Where's he from? Bath time.
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
DK Wilson saying Rashford should have been one of the team leaders, and he isn't. He should be one of the team leaders, but he's not, and he hasn't measurably improved. Time for Rashford to go. So he agrees with that. We need to be players of his level now to step up. He's not. Man from there, how you doing? Says miles off leading teams. Not much changing in the past 3 seasons, in my opinion. Team still needs lots of new players, as most of them aren't good enough. We just had a window saying that. Bath time with Vaughan, these players down tall. Understand Hag hasn't improved any players since he's been manager. Man from there saying it's another poor start to the season. Played 3, lost 2. Looking at another 14 games lost. Standards are very low at Man United. Agile Beast. Does Rashford have any playing time required in his contract? If so, we shouldn't do this anymore under Ineos. We've got Agile Beast again saying, if talk about players to replace him, Nicole Williams from the Spanish boy. For Rashford, expensive, yes, but should be #1 target next summer.
I disagree with that. That's why I talked about Brian Mbeumo. I think that going out and buying elite top players isn't the way to do it unless you've got the foundation there. So, for example, I'm very, very worried about Kobe Mainu with the amount of running that he has to do at 19 or however old he is. We need to get more water carriers around. But if we go and buy Nico Williams, we've got to get water carriers for him as well. And I just don't think we're at that level where we can go and get a top talent in Europe that's ready-made and stick him in. And I don't think that should be the plan. I think we should be doing what we're doing in some ways with players like Xerxes and getting a player that can develop possibly to that level. But most importantly, we've got to get the team's floor up and get a mental floor of people that if they go a goal down, like I remember against Brentford, we went a goal down and Ronaldo was geeing them all up, saying, like you've all played football, we've all been a goal down, stop crying, let's get on with it. And I just can't remember the last time that there were that United played, and I thought, well, it's okay, we're a goal down, we're going to do it. Because when Ollie was manager, we used to go a goal down away from home all the bloody time, and we'd somehow find a way of winning. And that has gone from the team now, and I don't think getting a Nico Williams gets that back.
Good point. Just want to ask you something, Dora. So Are we that bad? When we look at this, so we had 52% possession. This is the data and stats. We made the goals came from mistakes, didn't they? 2 from Casemiro, 1 from Kobe, and they've scored. But when you look at the overall play, 52% possession, 8 shots to their 11, 3 on target to their 3 on target. Shots are off target. You see, 7 plays 5, so not much in it. So, can you take some sort of happiness from that sort of data there, or even this one here, which suggests another thing, aerial duels and all that kind of thing? What can we read from stats? Because a lot of people deal with stats these days. But is there anything from the stats? Because we know there's 3 mistakes for the goals. Is there any positives we could say about this performance today?
No. I think in this case, and I know people are going to say, stats. I don't think that it's always, I test like the whole, discourse on functionals that I saw in the last few years is, especially when it comes to Paul Pogba, like he was the main, is it eye test or is it stats? What are we going to look at, right? When we are trying to evaluate, are we going to evaluate, players on only stats, like Bruno, he's a stat padder, blah, blah, blah. But the other guy, he's a baller, the baller, the whole discourse about ballers and, stat padders. I think in this game, it's obvious that, the stats are not very indicative of what we saw on the pitch, because on the pitch, from what I saw, from the eye test, I saw a lot of mistakes, pressing, what is pressing. Maybe Ten Hag needs to, roll out a football dictionary and read the definition of it, because he obviously doesn't understand it. If we look at United games in the last 3 seasons, but football Twitter, oh my God, they are remarkable. Like, what are we watching? Like, I swear to God, like, I'm not saying that I am a galaxy brain, a Croatian woman who knows everything about football. But Jesus Christ, some of the people are either blind, or they just, spout bullshit, or they just, they spend all their lives watching football, but they don't know how to watch football. Like, it's just so baffling to me. Like, the amounts of, bullshit that I see online, it's insane how people are uneducated. They're like, learn how to watch football. We are not pressing well. And these stats, if there are stats about pressing, the bad time is probably going to find them somewhere from his, whatever database, secret database.
He's going to go to the Bat Cave, the Bath Cave,
the Bath Cave,
the Bath Cave, the Bath computer.
Yeah.
Loads of baths just flying around like on Batman.
But yeah, I mean, it's obvious that these stats, like, we know that Liverpool are clinical. They needed to force us. To force our players to make a mistake. They did. I think, yes, from our side, it's unforced errors. From their side, they forced us to make the mistake. They, targeted the vulnerable midfielders, from the setup. The setup wasn't good, and they attacked us, and, they made us make a mistake, and they scored goals. And I think that's not just clinical football, but that's to me, that's the epitome of a modern football. And I know people are going to say it's ghost of Klopp is still there. It probably is, but I think Arne Slot, or whatever he's like, is his last name really Slot? Oh my God! Like, he's a lazy bastard, but he's still great. He's still amazing.
How are you going to let yourself get beaten by a man called Slot?
Like, lazy, bald-headed Dutch, but I guess we have a real fraud. Yeah, I guess we have a real bold fraud.
Dora, let's just pick up Chemo in the chat. He's a Liverpool fan. He's respectful. He's saying here, tough luck for you lot. But he's asking the question, seriously, what are your thoughts on Ten Hag? We're going to go to that as well. But also, big up Solo, because he's saying there's 20 in the chat. Just, if you don't mind, guys, press the like button for us. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the Man United agenda. And management is telling this new players not getting finished on, says Lucky Singh. We deserve better saying here. None of us are entirely right all the time, and neither are we entirely wrong all the time. Rest your ego. And Ace is saying here, Southgate will be waiting patiently for Ineos's phone call. That's a funny one, because I'm sure we, as a fan base, I don't think we want Southgate in. But yeah, so going back to the Liverpool fan who's been respectful, and obviously they've had a good day, so he's not coming in mocking like some people, Bart. And I'm just joking. He says, so Chemo, big up to you. He says, Liverpool fan here, tough luck for you lot. Seriously, what are your thoughts on Eric Ten Hag? And you can see here, Eric Ten Hag is under a lot of pressure. Everyone will be in the hot seat at Man United. I don't know what he said in the after show interview, but I'm going to go check that out because I've heard some boos in the comments. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Ten Hag going forward? What does he have to do now? 2 losses in 3 games, not acceptable really at this standard.
I mean, go on, Dora.
I don't know. Like, I think he needs to sit down with his coaches. He needs to sit down with Wilcox or whoever he's, working with from the technical directors and everyone else. I think he has resources. He needs to use them. They need to watch the video and finally address the problems in the midfield. We are going to see Ugarte starting, most like 100%. We are going to see Ugarte starting next game. He's going to get registered finally, and maybe this signing is going to revitalize the whole midfield, which I hope it happens, and all of a sudden that will unlock our other parts of the pitch, the defense and the attack. But they need to have those CEOs in big companies or NHL, not NHL, NFL scouts when they are trying to draft a American football player to their team, and they're sitting there throughout the whole night and making calls and trying to figure out who is going to be the best player for their future and who in which player they are going to invest their money in, and hope that they can elevate them. And I hope that they sit in that conference room or wherever, and they start tinkering and see what is going on with this team, because it's all the same. It's all the same problems that we saw last season. Maybe less so in the first season when he came in, when he finished 3rd. But from the last season, there isn't much of a progress, in my opinion. It all looks great in the first 10-15 minutes. Fans get hyped. They get, rejuvenated. They think, oh, everything is solved. This is great. And then we concede, or we are put back on the bottom of the pyramid, or we are just set down, like Kendrick Lamar says, bitch, be humble, sit down, like literally just sit down. And we are sitting there in the bottom of the well, and once again making the same mistakes, and it's just frustrating to see. Hopefully he fixes it, because if he doesn't, he's gone by Christmas, maybe even sooner.
Okay, bath time. Just lastly, because we wrap up the show, we've lost 3-0 to Liverpool, our main rivals. You can see, I want to show. Look, just quickly, bath time. Look at that image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, during the game. And wonder what's going on through his head. And also during the game, look at this. I mean, this doesn't look at the frown lines from both him and I think that's assistant referee, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe his assistant. But yeah, I mean, he had a decision to make at halftime with this guy who's made 2 mistakes. What are your thoughts going in, like overall with squad and what we need to do, and how you feel about these players? Have they got the desire? Does the manager, is he frowning so much he's given up? I mean, just talk to us quickly about, especially Casemiro and the manager, where we go from here, and then we're going to shut this down.
I think that we have to. I mean, my thoughts on both of them. I've never been a huge fan of Casemiro since he's come to the club. Although, a huge shout out for scoring the first goal against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final. Ten Hag is someone I've also never really enjoyed as a manager. I think structurally his teams are poor. His rest defence is always disorganised. He takes too many chances. I think his man management is poor. I think his in-game management is terrible. And that's it. Before we get on to stuff like signings of Anthony and Casemiro at massively inflated wages and prices. But what I would like to actually ask for anyone watching is what they want to see on the eye test tomorrow. If there's anything that they want us to focus on.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because we know, I mean, on Sky Sports or wherever you watch the game, we could talk about the mistakes that led to the goals. But I think there's other factors that we need to be looking at. And I think that's what the eye test is all about going into it. So me personally, judging by the game, obviously we watched the game with emotion. And at some points I was looking at my phone because I was just disinterested, which is the key word of the show. Disinterested, yeah. Like Xerxes. And I feel we need to look at other things today. What did we do well? That would be the thing for me. What did we do well today? That's what I was trying to bring up the data. I'm trying to, and I think at the start of the show, Dora asked a question as well. What did we do well? And we got to look at that. I think that'd be key.
I'm not doing that. We've
the reason
lost
why I say
3-0.
that. Yeah, I know, but the reason why I say that, Bartham, because we want to say, is there any hope? Do you understand what I'm saying? What have we done well since last season, or even since the last 7, 8, 9 games, competitive games? What have we done well? I'll be interested to know what we're doing well out there and what improvements we've made. I think we've been more secure. I think we maybe created a few more chances. We've got different personnel. Like Xerxes can give us something different. But I just think mentally, we let ourselves down today. Some players just don't want to be there, haven't got to fight like Liverpool players. That's like night and day. That's what I witnessed today. And in the eye test, I would be looking at, rather than looking at bad things, because I'm sure everyone will be covered in that. I think we need to look at what have we done well.
Give me an example.
So look at a player. So you could look at De Ligt. How has he performed, for example? How you said Xerxes. You question Martin disinterested, or can he continue to have that work rate? What's expected of him? Is it too much for him? Things like that. Those are questions that I want answered, and I would like to.
All right, to be honest, I'm probably not going to do that.
Okay, well, maybe that's true, but maybe someone can come up with something in the comments or something. What you want for tomorrow's eye test? Dora, any suggestions from you?
See, watch at look at the goals, and maybe look at the way Liverpool opened up on the transition. I believe that they are. I think Ten Hag said we are going to become the best transitional team in the world. That didn't happen, obviously, but the way Liverpool open up whenever they are trying to counterattack or transition, the way they are transitioning from defense to the attack is really elite, and I think maybe study those goals, or maybe study our mistakes and where we can improve, and maybe see some of the, like, for example, we're not going to jump on I think he had a good game besides that mistake, but what about Bruno? Like, do you remember Bruno Fernandes playing for Manchester United? Because I don't.
What's wrong?
It's a freaking stink bug again. I hate them. I hate summer.
How big? Just give us a gauge of how big they are.
It's big enough, okay? They stink when you kill them.
I've said that before.
Yeah. Shut up. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see some of the players that we didn't maybe mention that much today, to see how they performed. And yeah, that's my suggestion. And now, after the stream, I'm going to go kill those bugs that are flying around me. Yeah.
You mentioned the tennis earlier. Have you seen those rackets where we've got electrics? Where you can swap.
Oh, for a fly.
Sorry?
For a fly, like fly swatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that electric tennis racket.
Have you got?
If I electrolute or however you say it, a freaking stink bug, it's going to stink. So I need to take my tissue, take it, and I just throw it out of the window. Like, I cannot deal with this right now. Okay, I cannot.
What's annoying? This thing, stink bug. I've never heard of that. But do they just go around stinging people? Well, aren't they good for nature? Because you're treating it like it's got a purpose.
Stink. They smell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we call it a smrdljivi Martin, which is, a direct translation, smelly Martin.
La Vida Loca.
No, we call it a smelly Martin. here yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, we
if
have
you
a
ever
good
come
time.
to the UK, don't bring in any suitcase.
No.
I've never heard of them, but it's scary already.
I mean, if you see it, like you have it 100%. You have it. I will send you a photo.
Okay, get your rackets out on Amazon, $15.99. Do you have one of them, Bart?
No, it's time to go, Armando.
Okay, so tomorrow it'll be the eye test, 9 p.m. Really disappointing. I'm trying to end on a positive. There is none really, but yeah, really disappointing result today. We lost 3-0 to Liverpool. Gutted. We all predicted we might do something, but we didn't, and we're going to go out like this. So, guys, I know you have to go to work and face people. It's going to be humiliating, but try and I don't know what to say. Don't know what to tell you. Just try and take a say. We're on an international break. I don't want to talk about football for the next 2 weeks, and yeah, that would be what I'll be saying. So, Dora, thanks again. Squatting flies or bugs or stink bugs. Big up to bath time as well. We see you tomorrow, and obviously we see Dora during the week as well. Thanks everyone in the comments. We're signing out. Liverpool 3, Man United 0, and we're out. Good night.
Like an arch.